Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is, of course, Cameron. There you go, breaking news. Rafa Benitez has been sacked by Everton Football Club. Everton released a statement earlier on today to confirm that the Spanish manager has left the football club after 6 months in charge. The full statement reads that Everton Football Club can confirm the departure of Rafael Benitez as first team manager. Benitez, who joined Everton in June 2021, has left the club with immediate effect. An update on a permanent replacement will be made in due course. Now, obviously, the media are absolutely loving this at the moment. There's rumours left, right and centre who could potentially be the new manager of Everton Football Club. The Telegraph have said sources close to Jose Mourinho have claimed that he has been sounded out for the new Everton job. They also reported that Duncan Ferguson is in line for another stint as caretaker manager, and Wayne Rooney and Roberto Martinez are in contention for the permanent manager's role. Sky Sports have literally just reported that names under consideration to be the new Everton manager are Duncan Ferguson until the end of the season, Roberto Martinez, Rudy Garcia, Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney. So we're going to get an awful lot of names thrown in the hat over the coming days and weeks or so. But the biggest news is that Rafa Benitez has departed Everton Football Club and is no longer the manager. The news that we all wanted to hear, especially after last night's absolute debacle against Norwich at Carrow Road, and the news that, let's be honest, we've needed to hear as well. Listen, I've got nothing personal against Rafael Benitez. I'm not going to sit here and scream and shout about him as a person, but the reality of the situation is one Premier League win since September, sitting 15th, 16th in the Premier League, only 6 points above the relegation zone, and then losing to a relegation rival in what was an absolutely must-win game. The writing was on the wall for Rafa Benitez. He had ample opportunities to fix this. He had ample opportunities, where he could have been sacked and he wasn't sacked, and he was given another opportunity. You look back and think back at some of the results in recent weeks and months. You're thinking Watford, he could have been easily sacked after the Watford game. Palace a couple of weeks ago, Brighton a couple of weeks ago, Brentford, the Merseyside derby at Goodison. There was a number of fixtures that Rafa Benitez could have lost this job, and most people would have gone, do you know what, that's fair enough then. And he didn't. He stayed in the job. He used the old excuses of, we've had injuries and we'll have a better second half of the season. But we had no injuries yesterday. We had no injuries. We had a couple of players out, Alan out and Tom Davis out, but other than that, we had nobody out. We were well within the second half of the season, and still we went to a side that we should have been beaten. We should have been taking all 3 points in, and we lost comfortably, and that was, for me, it had to be the end of Rafa Benitez's time at Everton Football Club. I wasn't quite convinced that Farhad Moshiri would make this decision, purely on the basis that I think Farhad Moshiri cares more about being proven wrong than he actually does, Everton Football Club and the state that Everton Football Club are in at the moment. But to be fair to him, he's made the decision. He's swallowed his, his pride a little bit. He swallowed what I can only assume is a bitter pill, because, he got it wrong. The owner got it wrong again. How many times have we said that over the last 4 or 5, 6 years? He got it wrong, bringing in a manager that was, always going to come in with a target on his back because of his previous connections. But forget his previous connections with Liverpool and forget where he's been and what he said in the past. The reality of the situation is Rafa Benitez is being sacked this afternoon, not because of his connection with Liverpool Football Club, not because of who he managed or what he said 15, 20 years ago. He's being sacked because the results and performances as an Everton manager haven't been good enough. And as I said, any Premier League manager that goes, 4 months, 5 months without a single win, or one win in 4 or 5 months, needs sacking. No Premier League manager survives that, and Rafa Benitez is absolutely no exception. It does feel like a bit of a weight off our shoulder. It does feel like a bit of a relief, and hopefully now we'll start to get our football club back. But I tweeted this out yesterday, and I still have very much the same thought and the same opinion, and that is that my sort of joy for Rafa Benitez being sacked or leaving as Everton Football Club, the joy or the relief that I have for that decision is completely and utterly outweighed by the nervousness and the sort of, I suppose the scaredness, that's not even a word, but the nervousness that I have that Farhad Moshiri will be picking Rafa Benitez's successor outweighs the relief that I've got currently of Rafa Benitez leaving the football club. At the end of the day, the man that employed Rafa Benitez, went against everybody's, word, went against everybody's, recommendations and everybody's worries about Rafa Benitez, not only because of what he said and his, poor relationship with Everton, but also because obviously of him as a manager, tactically, some of the decisions he's made recently, some of the football his teams play. It was never going to work out, and the owner went against everybody because he felt like he knew better than everyone, and the fact that we're talking about the same owner who's going to employ the next manager of Everton Football Club, that really, really worries me. That, what's stopping Farhad Moshiri from doing the same? What's stopping Farhad Moshiri from thinking, right, well, I'm going to, it's my money, it's my club, I'm going to employ the next manager, and will we be sat here in 12, 18 months' time in the exact same position? Because let's be honest, since Farhad Moshiri has taken over at Everton Football Club, we've gone through 5 managers, 6 managers now. I'd say out of all of those appointments, he got one right with Carlo Ancelotti. It just so happened that didn't work out because Carlo Ancelotti wanted to move on to Real Madrid. But Marco Silva was a wrong appointment at the time. Just so happens, ironically, now he's doing brilliantly at Fulham, but was the wrong appointment at the time. Ronald Koeman was the wrong appointment at the time. Sam Allardyce was a very divisive figure. And obviously, pardon me, when you're talking divisive figures and when you're talking managers that come in and split a fan base and split a club, Rafa Benitez is bang at the top of that list. And I feel like what Everton need now, Everton are in a really, really difficult situation now because we are in a relegation battle. We're 15th in the Premier League. We are dangerously close to, if we don't start winning games soon, then we're dangerous. We're in a dangerous situation. And who knows where we'll be come the end of the season. We might be playing Championship football. I wouldn't be surprised. But the club have got a decision to make now as to which manager is the right man for the job. Now, personally, for me, I'd give it to Duncan Ferguson for the game against Aston Villa. Because firstly, it will get the crowd behind him. Duncan Ferguson will 100% get the entirety of Goodison Park behind him. He'll be on the touchline next to Steven Gerrard. So if he's running up and down, if he's giving it the passion, the desire, that'll get people behind the club as well. And what we need at the moment, I feel as Evertonians, coming from me personally, I want to fall in love with Everton again. I've slowly but surely fallen out of love with this football club over the last months and weeks and years because of wrong managerial appointments and awful recruitment and bad decision making and awful communication. I just want to fall in love with the football club again. I just want to be sat here, crying positive tears, sat here, smiling, loving life, loving Everton. And I honestly think Duncan Ferguson is the man to do that for us. Some people will say, oh, he'll get us relegated, he'll get us relegated. I don't think he would. There's a part of me that thinks that we have enough quality in this side to survive. We haven't got an awful lot of quality, don't get me wrong, but we've got enough to survive. But what we need is a manager who's going to kick give the players a kick up the arse, going to motivate the players, going to make the players walk out there and think, I've got to give absolutely everything here, otherwise I'm not gonna bloody live it down. And some people say, yeah, but you need the tactics as well, Cam. You need the tactics. But Duncan Ferguson took charge for 3 games during his interim paces just before Carlo Ancelotti was brought in. He beat a Chelsea side at the time that were fighting for Champions League. We went away to a Man United team that were difficult to beat and got a good draw against them. We got a draw against Arsenal in between then as well. So there's no evidence that Duncan Ferguson tactically isn't good enough. And when you look at some of the other names on that list, you're looking at Roberto Martinez. Yes, we had a great season under Roberto Martinez, but let's not get sentimental about it. The other 2 seasons he was here, he was absolutely awful. What's Roberto Martinez done since he's left Everton? He's had the best Belgium team they've arguably ever had, and he's got nowhere with it. Nowhere. Their A-team, De Bruyne, Hazard in his prime, Lukaku, you name it, best Belgian players of all time. Most of them have played under Roberto Martinez in the same team, and he's failed with it. So I'm not interested in that. Jose Mourinho would just cause another divisive character who'd come in and tear the club apart again. But I can't help but feel like the owner will go for somebody like a Jose Mourinho because he's a big Hollywood name. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he was successful winning trophies like Rafa Benitez was. And that's my biggest worry. The buck doesn't stop at Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez has left the football club now, and that was absolutely the right decision. Tactically, he was awful. Some of the substitutions he made, some of the team selections he put out there. In fact, his team selection yesterday against Norwich pretty much screamed, I want the sack. But as I've just said, the buck doesn't stop with Rafa Benitez. He isn't the only problem at Everton Football Club. The problems go beyond Rafa Benitez, and the biggest is the fella at the top who's making the decisions, and he's got to get this one right. We're 15th in the Premier League mid-January. If we don't get this one right, we could be playing Championship football next season. So don't go for Jose Mourinho, who's had no experience of a relegation battle and is another divisive character who'd come in and split the fan base. What we need at the moment is to fall back in love with Everton. What we need at the moment is a manager who's going to come in, give it everything on the touchline, and understand what it means to play for this football club, and understand what it means to fight and to battle and to show that desire and to show that passion every single time you step on that pitch. And if we get that, then we'll be okay, I feel. Wayne Rooney's name's been thrown in the hat, as we've just mentioned. Graham Potter's name. I'd love Graham Potter, but would he come to Everton? We're now right at the start of that managerial merry-go-round that we sat here and spoke about on a number of occasions during the summer. June, July, we sat here every single day and done a live stream about being in a managerial merry-go-round. We're back here now. I just hope that this appointment doesn't take as long as the last one did, and I also hope that at the end of the managerial merry-go-round there's not such a divisive character who has got absolutely no chance of succeeding at Everton Football Club like Rafa Benitez. Give it to Duncan Ferguson, in my opinion, for the game against Villa. See what happens. You've got an international break then. If somebody brilliant becomes available, you take that chance. But somebody brilliant isn't Jose Mourinho. Wayne Rooney's not a bad shout. It's a mad one because he's doing so well at Derby. But would Wayne Rooney leave Derby at this current point to take over an Everton side who are in such a dire situation? I don't know. I think Jose Mourinho would leave Roma because I think Farhad Moshiri would want to give him a shitload of money, but that would be the wrong appointment as well. So, as I said, we need somebody, for me anyway, I need somebody who's going to make me fall back in love with Everton again. I seen a video on Twitter last night, which was Duncan Ferguson after the draw against Man United when he was in charge, and he was singing with the fans and he was clapping, and you could see the emotion in his face, and I just thought, that's what I want. And I nearly cried watching the video, because that's what I want. I want to fall in love with Everton. I want to fall, in love with these players, with a manager, get behind the players, get behind the manager. And I tell you what, if there's one thing the entirety of the Everton fan base will do, is get behind Duncan Ferguson. Whether they agree with the appointments or not, everybody will get behind him. And we'll see, won't we? We'll see if he's good enough, if he does come in. The Times reported earlier on today that he will take charge of the game against Aston Villa. But again, that was obviously because it's such a quick turnover. So I'm sure Duncan will want to take that game and grab it with both hands and make the most of it and, show and prove to the board and ultimately the owner that these players will play for him. He'll get these players playing for them, and tactically he can set up to beat good sides. Like Aston Villa are a good side. So there's a lot riding on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. Pardon me. I'm looking forward to it a lot more now than I was 3 hours ago, I'll tell you that. And yeah, as I said, the breaking news is Rafa Benitez has left Everton Football Club with immediate effect. The club are due to make a decision on who will be the next manager, and that will be communicated in due course. Apparently, probably won't be, let's be honest. But we don't know whether Duncan Ferguson will 100% take charge of Villa yet, but I'm sure we'll hear over the next couple of days or so whether or not that is the case. And then we'll get back into this managerial merry-go-round of various different sources linking us with various different managers and the odds changing left, right and centre about who is going to be the next Everton manager. But the reality is, pardon me, this could be Farhad Moshiri's biggest decision since joining Everton Football Club. If he gets this wrong, not only financially will that cripple us, but in terms of league position, form, relegation battle, this, that and the other, if he gets this wrong, then I could see Everton going down. And I don't think there'd be a sufficient amount of time to change the manager again to keep us up. So he's got to get this right. And as I said, for me, I think in the short term, I don't see why Duncan Ferguson wouldn't be that person. He'd get behind the team. with the fans that get behind him. And I think with a manager that the players can get behind and the players are like and the players will fight for, I think we'll be okay. We'll pick up wins, we'll pick up points, especially if Goodison Park is a fortress like I'm sure Evertonians will make it with Duncan in charge. But some people will disagree and say, no, he's got no experience, this, that and the other, bringing this person, bringing that person. Lampard is a name thrown in the hat as well, which is an interesting one, but yeah, we'll wait and see over the next coming days. But there you go, that is the breaking news. Rafa Benitez has left Everton Football Club, rightly so, as I said, after yesterday's debacle. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Really, really interested to hear what you all got to say about this one as well. So please do let us know below. We'll be live tomorrow talking a bit more about potential replacements and who could come in, who could be the next Everton manager. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. So big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.